Hello everyone, thanks again for tuning into another episode of You Art With Me, with your orator, Erik, aka E-Ray. Thanks again, people. My today's project that I'm going to be working on is going to be a horse. And this particular horse is called a Friesian Horse. If I am pronouncing it correctly, it's a very robust horse, big horse, really thick neck. I really didn't exaggerate on the neck. The neck is really thick. It looks more like somewhat of a Clydesdale, but it's actually of the Arabian breed of horse, sort of like a black stallion breed. But it's a really big horse, a really beautiful horse. The one particular that I saw, actually a guy that I was working with, he showed me the horse, and it was beautiful. It was just running, and it was like bucking everywhere, and it looked just like a Clydesdale, but it was just pure black, and the hair was like really flowing, and it had curls in the air and his hair. And some of them, what they do, because it's kind of one of those breeds that it's a collector breed that they that they keep. It's a real, like, more of like a high-end breed. And so I would think, like, very wealthy people, mostly, or people who deal with horses or whatnot, deal with this particular horse. But like I said, its legs kind of have like that big, thick, muscular leg like a Clydesdale, and it has this fur around the lower part of its legs. It's a really beautiful horse. If you get an opportunity to Google it or look at it, it's a very beautiful horse. What I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of going through the outline. Like I said, the neck on this particular horse is very muscular and thick. I was showing it to some people, and they were like, "Oh man, that was CG." Somebody photoshopped it or something like that. I was like, actually, no, it wasn't. This is the actual size horse, though. It's a very muscular, big horse, and its neck is really thick, and it was a really beautiful horse. I got this. The larger shapes came out really quick with this one, I guess, because I feel like possibly muscle memory I've been progressing through with the rhino, and from the rhino I got more dynamic with the moose, and hopefully I'll be more dynamic with my drawing as far as the Friesian horse. You see right now, I'm just kind of I'm trying to build on shapes. I'm taking these large shapes that I'm seeing from my reference picture that I'm actually looking at, and I'm trying to make out these shapes, and because I feel like if I can get these larger shapes out, and I guess saying, like, with muscle memory and as me practicing more and more and doing more of these pieces, I find myself getting a lot better with it. And at this point, I wasn't, and even like I'm still kind of working on this. As I know it's been a couple days since I put out the last one, but I did this a couple days ago. Been kind of busy, but I'm still working on it. I got a lot done. I'm gonna put this video, and then I'm gonna go and put my next video out as well. But as you can see, what I'm doing right here, like his nose, how it's coming down, and everything. But I was kind of having some difficulties with like the way the horse eye was, according to the left and the right eye. You're not going to be able to see the eye on the left as you're looking at the screen. The eye, because horses, they kind of have their eyes on the side of its skull and head, the make of it. But you get an indentions of his eyeball, or an impression of his eye, the left eyeball, as you can see. But the right eyeball and the kind of like the bridge in between, or the space you would have between the two eyes, I was kind of having a hard time, and it just wasn't looking anatomically correct. So kind of went back. The jawline, I worked a couple times. What I'm doing right here, I'm just really trying to figure out a shape and get that shape down, and that's what I'm doing right here. And as you can see, I'm getting like the shape actually came. It kind of came really fast, and it was really good. Yeah, and right now I'm just working and getting that neck. That front part of the neck kind of goes down. It's just like, if you can imagine like a human's chest, you would have some part of the neck going down. You would have like that the collarbone, but you would have the breasts, or the upper part of the chest muscles, and this is like I said, this is a very muscular horse. So like that neck is so thick that it looks like his neck is kind of short, and I took from kind of like I did with the moose, and I created border, but I slightly go out the border with his ears and his mane and his hair, but I still want to kind of keep true to borders, keeping them. I also have I'll probably not this video, but the next video that I produce or episode, I'm gonna put in. Hopefully, I'll have my etched glass. I've been working on this etched glass, and I have these kind of standoffs. I'm gonna take these sheets, and I'm gonna put them in between two panes of glass, and I'm gonna, on the front side, it's gonna just be the clear glass, and they look really great behind the glass. Again, if you go to my IG page, you can see how I set up one of my first sketches that I done, in a while. I did Jasmine Guy in Harlem Nights, where she has the feathers, and what I did, I took gold leaf and I made like kind of like a circle or sun background, or behind it. It came out really great, and between the two pieces of glass, came out. It looks really great. And like I said, what I'm gonna do is, and what I'll do too is I'll try to create instructional video on how I put everything together. But I kind of had a hiccup a little bit with scoring my glass, because what I'm doing too is I'm actually going to like a Goodwill, and where there's like some pictures and frames and whatnot. Like the frames are kind of destroyed, whatever. Somebody may have had like something into a frame, whatever. I'm actually buying them, so it's like I'm buying the glass frames right there, but I'm scoring them, breaking them myself, or cutting the glass myself. And then what I'm gonna do is drill holes for my standoffs, where they'll be encased between two panes of glass, my actual pictures. And then what I'm gonna do on the back half of it, I'm going to be etching my glass. I'm going to put that symbol that I have. I'm kind of on the beginning of this, with where it looks like an E, but it's also the Asani tribe symbol for the Most High. And I kind of adapted and kind of shaped it into my own. So I'm gonna etch those in the back of those and have the standoffs. And if you don't have a visual of what I'm saying right now, I am hopefully by the next video that I complete, then you'll be able to see it, and I'll show it to you, and it'll be a little Easter egg at the end of the next one. I'm trying to figure out what kind of Easter egg or where I want to show you guys on the end of this video, but I will try to do that at the end of my videos, like show you some more of my art, something that I worked on before, possibly maybe take you on a run where I go to, and I'll show you how I pick out the glass panes or whatnot when I go to like the Goodwills and stuff like that, because they usually have a bin full of just like somebody had some type of maybe print or something like that, or some artwork they possibly have done, whatever. And like I won't really say I'll discard their art or whatever they may have in, and they might just have like a some kind of picture that probably even possibly came with it. They had a frame, maybe a picture in, and they take the picture out, but the glass is still good. And even if glass is kind of maybe damaged a little bit, I can cut it to size to my pieces. So if it's a larger piece and it was a larger piece and it was a little damaged, and I was able to cut it, I scored and cut it, and that one worked. But the other one, I think the glass plane was a little bit thicker, and I should have scored on both sides to make sure that it would have just broke really evenly. But yeah, and possibly I'll show you that process too, the whole process. Getting back into the actual sketch, right now I'm doing like the nostrils. You see the jaw lines come in. It's very light right at this point. I'm using my just my mechanical pencil. I do have a mechanical graphite pencil, which is a little bit darker, and you'll possibly see it. And you can see how thick that neck is. Like, if you look at the top, you might think it's the main part of it, of the horse, but that's really his neck. It is really muscular. From the particular reference photo that I took it from, his neck is really, it's like 3 layers of muscle from his neck. It's like a, and I kind of imagine, or like how the spine would be in a horse's skull. That's why I like the eye placement. If you're gonna see me kind of working it a little bit, moving the eye forward, seeing how, if it looks, if the anatomy's right, or if it's anatomically correct. Because at this stage I can kind of mess around and play around with it, and until I get that look that I'm looking for. If you go back and you look at the rhino, and you also look at the moose, I think I did a pretty good job. I really wasn't satisfied with it. I've come to learn through doing them. Like the rhino, I mean, it wasn't great from the beginning, but I felt I had better form from the beginning of that one. I think because I was more excited about doing it at first. With the moose, I was excited about doing it, of course, but I was like, this is my second one in, so it was real ugly. It was like a real ugly situation, but I was able to overcome it. I think it came out really decent. Like, people who actually showed and stuff like that, they were like, wow, And like I said, you watch the video, and where I start from, and then where I end. It was, I think I came with it, like I said, just sticking with it. Like I said, I think I learned a life lesson with that one, because I was able to complete it, and I stuck it out, because I was like, at one point I was just going to scrap it. I was really going to scrap it, but I didn't. I stuck with it. At this point in the stage of this sketch, you can start. It's getting a little darker. I'm going over a little bit more. Like I said, right now, I was telling you before, I'm just kind of getting the eye placement. From what I had, as far as from where the right ear would be, and the eye, and like, the eyelid of the horse, and, the brow, I didn't really think it was, in a good place. Right now, it kind of looks like a cartoonish My Little Pony, and I kind of wanted to keep in the tradition of like what I did with the rhino, and like how I did with the moose. The moose, I feel, was a little bit more dynamic than the rhino. The rhino was really realistic looking. But I mean, the pose was just a side view pose. It was more of a dynamic pose, kind of like it was protruding out of the frame when the piece that I did with the moose, and thought that was really good. So I wanted to kind of give you that same feel, and I am doing the heads. Not that I'm afraid to do the whole body, but this is just I kind of felt like this is my theme that I want to do. I want to do their heads, and then I'm gonna do 7 large land mammals, this is number 3 of the large land mammals. So for the next, I guess, about 4 more weeks, every week I'm going to try to get another one. But what I am going to also be doing as well is I'm going to try to I'm going to start another series where I'm probably going to do about a seven series of like when I was in high school, pretty much all, like when I got about to like my 9th grade year, I had my first job. I think I worked in like McDonald's, and I, like one of my first paychecks that I got, I bought a weight bench. Remember the ones with the concrete, the plastic, gray plastic, or I think some of them were like brown gold or something like that. But I had the gray plastic where it came with like 2 dumbbells, the bench press. I think it had like maybe 180 pounds of weights, but they were concrete in there, and it had a little bench with the butterflies. I was playing football in high school and that, so that was my first introduction. So I also started, I was coming to my own, had my own little cash, whatever, working like summer 9th grade year, or I guess it was like 9th grade going into the 10th grade that summer. I started getting the muscle mags because I was playing football. I started playing football. I didn't start as early as some people do, like in Pop Warner and all that. I started like the 8th grade. So I started playing football 8th grade and junior high. So when I got to the high school, man, it was crazy. I was in the 9th grade, and like I started varsity. We didn't have a very large football team, but I started varsity. I started the last 3 games, and I remember being on kickoff return in the 9th grade. I probably was 190 at the time, maybe 200, maybe about 200, about 190, 200, going in so it was more probably like 200 maybe. So I'm going into the 9th. I'm going in as a freshman, and we played against this team. At the time, they were ranked like in the state of Mississippi. They were ranked like I think they were number 2, something like that. What's the name of the school? It's the same school that, remember when Brett Favre was playing, and he was holding out or whatever, or he was anticipating retiring, and he was going up to Heidelberg, Mississippi, and he was playing with the Heidelberg High School. He was playing catch with those guys. That was the school, and at the time, this is probably 95, 94, 95-ish, maybe 96, somewhere around there. Yeah, they were ranked. I think they were like number 2. So we were ranked 2 at the time. We were doing pretty good. We had a bunch of guys, like my freshman year and my senior year were our best 2 years of me playing. Like my sophomore or junior year, we lost a bunch of our seniors and whatnot. But anyhow, this guy hit me hard. Like we were kickoff return. I remember he hit me so hard, and all I saw was a white light. I saw a flash of light, and I remember because I'm prideful, and to a fault sometimes, and I wouldn't allow myself to fall back. So I grabbed the dude's pads and pulled myself and held myself up. But he popped me. He rung my bell a little bit. So I saw the white light, and I was like, okay. And I was holding his pads, but I wasn't gonna let him. I wasn't gonna give him the gratitude to know that he, put me on it. So he hit me, you know what I'm saying? So then I had to line up against this dude. And that was crazy too, because I had to line up in front of him, right? And so and long story short, I told myself I would never allow another man to hit me like that again, and me be able to, hey, look, that will never happen. He was a senior, take it, and I was a 9th grader, but still, you know what I'm saying? I felt like, you know what I'm saying, I was a mad child. So that dude hit me. I was like, whoa, okay. So, and I remember kind of after the game, it was like one of the senior guys This dude named Ricky. And so Rick, like, dude was talking to Rick. He was like, who is this dude? I was really little, but I was little, but not little. And so he was like, who is this dude, man? They've been lining him up for me all day, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He said this dude pretty tough, you know what I'm saying? And he said, yeah, he's a freshman, man. So the dude was like, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm putting it on him all day. And, you know, and I had to live with that, but, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying, it was part of me just, you know, coming up when I, but, yeah, after that time also, you know, I know I kind of went off a tangent on that one, but when I started working out and I got an opportunity to do a powerlifting meet in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and Frank Kazmaier was there. At our powerlifting team, we had like a couple of schools like Ocean Springs, Van Cleve, I believe St. John's was there. Had some guys from St. John's. That was a school out of Gulfport. I want to say Harrison Central. Some guys from Harrison Central. I'm not really. And my high school, Pasture High, and yeah. And so I really started. So then I started like Albert Beckless, Lee Haney, Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, Lou Ferrigno, Franco. Dorian Yates later on. You had Jay Cutler. My era where I was really big into it, it was Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler, Ronnie Coleman, or maybe even a little bit before Ronnie Coleman, but it was Dorian Yates, Guy Priest, I can't think of his other name. You had those kind of guys, but you know, you had guys before that was like Lee Haney was like my dude, you know what I'm saying? And then you had, you know, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And like I said, and you had Sergio. But Albert Beckless was an older cat. And then, you had Paul Dillett, El Nazar. It just had a ton of guys that was just doing it in the, you know what I'm saying? So what I want to do is I want to, like, you know what I'm saying, as far as those guys were kind of like I know they was doing steroid and stuff like that. I never knowingly did steroids, you know what I'm saying? I took supplements and stuff like that, and when I was at my, you know what I'm saying, strongest and stuff like that. So I had, you know, that type of, you know, but I was getting the Muscle magazine, the Flex magazine at the time, and these are all like kind of my heroes at the point of when I was, you know, the working out and stuff like that, real heavy. I playing football and stuff like that. So yeah, so I want to do like my little homage, I would say. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm gonna do homage to these guys. I'm gonna do like series possibly a 7. I did a pastel, and I think I showed you. If you guys look at the last video that I posted of the moose, I did an Easter, or the one it'll say I did an Easter egg on it. I show you a picture that I did of Kai Green. I did that with pastels, and it's also on my IG page, Lionhead Circle. If you go on our IG page, you'll see it as well. Excuse me. I think I did really great on those. Like I said, so I'm gonna try to do one. My first one I'm possibly gonna do is Albert Beckless. If you don't know Albert Beckless, he was a bodybuilder, and he was like he was around the time, I guess, like of Arnold and stuff like that. I think he was a little bit before Arnold. Him and Sergio and a few guys like that. But he was also in, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Mandingo, and there was a part in Mandingo where like you see this like guy, he's like in a colonial kind of dress, and he's kind of like a guard, and he like super yoked, and the guy Ken Harvey Sr., you know, they get into it. Like, you know, they kind of, you know, they getting into it. So it's Ken Harvey, and you got Albert. That dude that's in that movie is Albert Beckless. And so, like when I started reading, I read about him, and I think it was a Muscle magazine or a Flex magazine, because that was like the big magazine. It was like either Muscle or Flex, but it was in Flex. I think it was Flex. It was an article they had, and I read it, and then I read that he was in that movie, and I went back and I saw oh, that's Albert Beckless. Even back then, he had like the kind of like, you know, the George Jefferson hairline, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's my next thing I'm gonna do. Getting back to the horse, right now it's still, if you look at it now, it's a little bit more darker, making the nostrils. to the left, and I mean the left side. You know, you get like a side view, an angled view, but as you can see too, what I was talking about, the neck and the actual shoulder and the breast, like the upper breast part or the upper pectoral part of the horse coming down, and then you see his jawline. It's really strong. You see these muscles coming out, and it's not his mane. These are his muscles. In the next video, hopefully, it'll be a little more dark and you can be able to see it, whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely going to add, an Easter egg in the back of this video. I'm trying to figure out which one I'm gonna show you guys. I think the last time I showed you my chief that I did with the Aztec symbol on there, or for Most High, or the and you had like the bird headpiece on with the feathers, with the gold around his neck, and then I showed you the Nubian girl. Those are the Nubian girl was oil painting. The chief is mostly oil, but some acrylic. And the Kai green pictures I did, that is all pastel. And then I think I show you some of my prints that I have. Like I have Median of the Minds, where I have Horus and what is it? Horus and what's his name? Nubis. So yeah, Horus and Nubis. I had one guy that I work with. He wanted me to do something for him. He wanted me, because he was like, oh, I don't think you can, paint, or, you're not a great artist. I don't think you're an artist. I think you just pull on my leg. And he's like, draw me a dude with a girl on his shoulder. And so I drew it, and then I painted it for him. And so, yeah. So I'll show you a print of that. I think I showed you my Japanese print. And that, I think I showed you guys African warrior. I'll show you guys the African warrior. That's where I got the symbol from, that you see on the beginning and the end of this particular showing. Yeah. So with my design, so as you can see, the horse is taking more of a shape, but you gonna see too. I'm gonna do more on that eye, because yeah, I wasn't really happy with it, so I moved it and everything like that. But again, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Always enjoy talking to you guys, giving you a little bit of history and backstory of myself, and I'm trying to give you an update of what I'm gonna try to do next for you guys. Again, this is You Art With Me, your orator Eric, aka E-Ray, and here's my little Easter egg at the end where I'm hitting y'all off. Okay, it's this video I put the Easter egg on as well. Okay, so I got this Easter egg here for y'all, where I'm showing y'all my Kai green. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and be out, guys. Y'all stay up and keep doing your art thing, man. Art with me. Prospect. The beat is sick. Riding out to it.